heard the phrase, eat your vegetables, they're good for you? Of course you have. You've heard them from your parents, your grandparents, your aunts, your uncles, your dog. And why? Because they think it's a good thing to say to you, because they think, oh, vegetables, those are good for you. What if I told you that they're wrong? They're all wrong. Vegetables are bad for you now. I know, right? I bet you're wondering, why are they bad for me all of a sudden? Don't worry, I'll tell you. Today I'm here to convince you that produce, commercially grown produce, is now and officially bad for you. First, I will be discussing the dangers of genetically modified organisms, otherwise known as GMOs. OMG, what's a GMO? Well, I will explain it all to you, don't worry. Then I will be explaining why fertilizers are bad for your soil. And then I will be explaining the history of the company that revolutionized food forever. And finally, I will conclude with ways to make you healthier and solve the problem of being confronted by unhealthy vegetables. Alright, so, GMOs. What's a GMO? A genetically modified organism. They produce these by filling vegetables, or no, they fill DNA with a gene and chemicals. It becomes a GMO. It's used in biological research, pharmaceutical medicine, and agriculture? Yeah, agriculture. They use it in agriculture. That's disgusting. They use the same technology that they use to make Tylenol to make agriculture. That makes a lot of sense. I don't want my corn tasting like, I don't know, Benadryl. But hey, whatever, corporations. It's created by inserting or deleting a gene, hence the genetically modified organism. Yeah, tough crowd. Stack corn is a great example of a genetically modified organism. It has things like weed control technology and insect control technology, and of course corn, because, you know, it's gotta still taste like corn. Now think about all the chemicals that they have to put into this gene, all the chemical genes that they have to put into this organism to make it into this genetically modified organism that fights bugs and fights weeds and still tastes like corn. It's kind of gross. I mean, do you really want all those chemicals in your body? Studies have shown that mice that ate genetically modified food had a higher likely chance of having a cardiovascular disease than a mouse that did not eat genetically modified food. Do you really want to eat that? Didn't think so. Now what's really scary is that Stack corn, the example I just used, was a market leader in 2009. That's right, most of the corn you were eating was Stack corn. Don't be fooled, it's all Stack corn. Now I would like to discuss why fertilizers are bad for your soil. Most people say, oh, I want to grow a garden. Let's put fertilizer in my soil, because then it'll make my plants grow stronger and taller, faster, all that jazz. But what does it really do to your plants? No, what does it do to your soil? Fertilizer strips the soil of its vital nutrients and minerals and vitamins so that it becomes more permeable to water. So now you have all these, instead of like nice clumpy dirt and earthy soil, you have this grainy stuff, almost like sand. So now you're more prone to erosion. This is really bad for the environment. Why do you think there's so many landslides nowadays? It's because of fertilizer. Because fertilizer is taking the nutrients out of our soil, making it more permeable, and thus making it more easily erodible. Therefore, fertilizer is bad. Now, I would like to tell you all about Monsanto. What is Monsanto? Well, back in 1901, a man named John Queeny created Monsanto. This company produced the artificial sweetener for Coca-Cola. Nowadays we're like, oh, artificial sweetener, no big deal. We use that in our iced tea. But back in 1901, this was a really big deal. So this Queeny guy, he made a lot of money off of this stuff. His company grew huge, and with it, so did its technological research. Soon, they began researching genetically modified organisms. According to Bob Cesca, Monsanto owns 90% of genetically grown genes. So if you have a problem with GMOs, the finger to point at is to Monsanto, because they're the ones who are putting GMOs in our food. Yeah, big problem. Now, how do we avoid these horrible GMOs? OMG, GMOs, what do? Here's what you do. You eat organic! Yay! No, this isn't just some hippie stuff you see at the supermarket that only hippies eat and you're weird if you eat organic. No, organic is really good for you because it's naturally grown. No fertilizers, no GMOs, just good old eggplants and corn grown straight from the earth's soil. And yeah, that might sound like a whole bunch of mumbo jumbo, but it really is better for you. Those mice that had a higher chance of developing cardiovascular disease did not develop cardiovascular disease by eating organic. Yay! So eat organically because although it's a little more expensive, your life is more important than your wallet. So eat organic, avoid GMOs, avoid fertilizers, and boo to Monsanto. Thank you for listening to me today, folks. You were great. They were a great audience, guys. Let's get a round of applause for all of you. Yay!